Hey guys, Unqualified Critics here. So I broke a story about a week ago that Outrun Cabinet, well, maybe a few days ago, but who's counting? Outrun Cabinet is real, and we had photos of it from an obscure online retailer and didn't know for sure if it was legit. And I said as much in that video, but I said I think it probably is. Well, it turns out it was legit, thankfully, and it does look pretty good. I have a lot of thoughts on the design of the cabinet, but let's go through the basics. So this is $500 for the sit down, and we do know for sure there will be a stand-up cabinet. John D has mentioned it, and it is shown in the trailer video, so we know that the stand-up cabinet is real. But let's come back to that. It also looks like it's possible Code Mystics is doing the software on this one because it does include a settings menu for each game. Game settings menu. Sounds super boring, but having dip switch access for individual games is a big deal. And Code Mystics has only done fire so far. They did the Golden Axe cabinet I just reviewed, which I love, Star Wars and NBA Jam. Those are all some of my favorite Arcade1ups. Code Mystics brings the heat, and it looks like they might be involved here, but that isn't confirmed, so don't take that one to the bank. I just think there's a good chance they are involved. Arcade1up doesn't really announce who does the software on these cabs in advance generally. They didn't for Golden Axe. I had no idea Code Mystics handled that one, but I sure was glad that they did. The cabinet looks really good. It's weirdly though, it's a combination of designs. So the side panels look like one of the stand-up Outrun cabinet designs, which you can see here. And then the bench is designed to look like one of the sit-down. I think this was the true original Outrun sit-down. It was revised a few times. I think this was the actual original, I believe. I can't confirm that, but I think that's true. But if you look at this machine, I mean, look, the red and the white, this is what they're going for. They changed the lines a little bit, which is kind of weird. But they've basically combined both designs. So in other words, if you're, wanting the stand-up version, and there are a couple reasons you might want the stand-up version, which we'll talk about, but you're worried about authenticity, well, technically you're more authentic to buy the stand-up version because that's what this is designed to look like. So don't feel guilty if you're thinking about pulling the trigger on that stand-up version. We don't know the pricing of it, and it is not available for order yet, but I think it'll probably be $450. That was the pricing for the sit-down Star Wars, the stand-up Star Wars, once the sit-down model launched. So overall, it looks good, but again, what are some of those questions? Well, I really have wondered where will the pedals go. There's a mod of an Arcade1up to create a racing cabinet. I think it might have been an Outrun cabinet, actually. And what they did was they took the faceplate off, or the kick plate off, and they put the pedals back into the cabinet. Well, it's not the case here. It clips onto the front. It does look like it clips, so it has like a secure process, which is nice. But then it sits in front. Well, hey, why does that matter? Well, here's why it matters. Look at the real cabinet. Here's your steering wheel, just like a car, up front. Pedals are pushed to the back. Well, look here. Let's look at the side profile. We know the pedals are down here in front of the steering wheel. So in other words, they've reversed the ergonomics of this cabinet. Steering wheel's recessed, pedals are up front. Disappointing. I would have really liked to see them switch that up. Now, when they designed this layout, they designed it with Star Wars originally, and Star Wars doesn't have pedals, so no big deal. But now we've got pedals in play, and the pedals just sort of push you out a little bit farther. So I would really like to see them redesign that in the future for racing cabinets. I would also really like to see them sell a racing seat that you can buy, and maybe a third party will build it, and that's fine too. But some kind of seat with a backing that you can put in here that connects to the cabinet to make it look like a little bit more of a proper racing cab. But I gotta say, honestly, given that this is all flat packed, I mean, remember, this is all designed to pack up in a tiny box. It's really flat that they're gonna be able to sell at Walmart. This looks pretty damn impressive considering those design constraints of having to flat pack everything. The control panel looks nice. This is probably real T-molding around the control panel like it was with Star Wars, which is pretty cool. The other thing is it has the correct shifter, high and low, a two-way shifter. That's appropriate for every game on here. And what are the games we're getting? Well, it's a lot of you guessed this correctly in my last video. Outrun, Turbo Outrun, Outrunners, and Power Drift. They all involve a high and a low shift, which is what we get here. I thought they were all mono games, but actually Outrunners is stereo. And this cabinet does come equipped with stereo sound. So that is also a nice touch. Some people want to know if you can network these together. There's no information about that in this listing, so I doubt you can. I think they'd probably want to promote that if you could. I think that's okay. Outrunners was the only game that was multiplayer in this list. So unless they're really going to update the game code, which I guess they could do, you'd only be able to, well, they really couldn't do. I mean, how are you going to play Outrun 2 player? You'd have to completely rebuild the game, so I take that back. You'd only be able to play multiplayer on one title, and it's not even the marquee title. So I think that's probably okay that Outrunners is one player. I hope they've gone into the ROM and like removed that option so you don't get prompted for player two to put in a coin or whatever. Hopefully they took care of that. And again, if Code Mystics was involved, I'm sure they did take care of that. Cabinet looks good. Is this steering wheel the correct steering wheel? So I think Outrun was a 270-degree steering wheel, and if you guys are familiar with racing games, they had different wheels. Some wheels spun infinitely, like super off-road. A lot of wheels would only spin and then lock into 270 degrees. And there were some other options too, but I think 270 was probably the most popular. I haven't played like large numbers of racing arcade cabinets in my day. I've really only played probably half dozen titles maybe. So I can't speak authoritatively on that. But you guys can tell me in the comments, did these lock in place at 270 degrees? And then we need to find out, is this the arcade authentic turn lock, which hopefully it is. We also know we get a light up marquee, but that is what we should be getting. The side panels look nice. They look pretty close to the original. So overall design, I like it. Price, I think price is reasonable. $500 with pedals, steering wheel, all of that. This is Arcade1up.com, and then they will sell it at retailers later. Will the price go up when it goes to retailers like Golden Axe? Maybe. We don't know. Really no way to know. Unless Arcade1up wants to tell us, but I don't think they've made any announcement yet. Yeah, I don't know. If you guys want this, I'd say buy it now. I guess it's possible it could hit a retailer and then a retailer discounts it, but it's also possible the price goes up a little bit. Let me know in the comments what you think. Are you ready to jump in on this? Do you see what you want to see? Are you waiting for another racing title? Or do you just not like the design of this cabinet? And also, if you are going to get it, do you want this stand-up version I mentioned, which hasn't been formally announced yet? We don't know when it's coming. We just know it's coming soon. Or do you want this sit-down version that you can order now? Be curious to hear from you. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll talk to you soon. Hey, consider hitting that join button to support the channel, and thanks so much for watching.
Dripping lights paint the skies.